I said, my name is Grace Nzula, and I am from Atara Solutions. Atara Solutions is a HR consulting and training company. I think we've given a shout out to our partners. And of course, you are tuned in to Get It Right with Atara Solutions, which is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. And of course, we have my co-host, Richard. You can introduce yourself.
Grace, you've just taken some words out of my mouth. Why can't you just distribute jumpers, Atara Solution jumpers, to everybody? It is cold. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time I heard about home guards was in history. As we were being colonized, there are people we call home guards. And I am seeing this concept in human resource. So we have home guards even in change management. We are going to see what causes change and those people who make sure that you do not succeed in change management. My name is Richard J. Magoma. Richard J. Magoma is a human resource professional. I train people for interview preparation, and I also train people in public speaking. I train people to speak very well. So as you demystify concepts wherever you are, make sure you are speaking as good as Grace speaks, and you smile all the way to the bank. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. Over to you, Grace.
Thank you so much, Richard, for being here and for doing an amazing job as well. If you're looking for an interview coach, look no further. Richard does a good job on that. All right, so tonight we have my friend and one of those speakers I totally respect a lot. Because every time he speaks, I need to go and buy a book, like literally. And I think the last time FCS Karanja spoke was at IHRM conference, and he made us go and buy a book called The Art of Stupidity. And it is still very interesting. It's a very interesting read. You need to probably go for it. So with us tonight is FCS Karanja, or Jeremiah Karanja. He's the CEO of the Institute of Certified Secretaries. By the way, if you are looking to understand how governance works, even if you're HR, you need to sign up for a CS class. It is such an amazing course to do, and I think he will tell us why we need to do that. But Karanja is a governance expert. He's an advisor as well. And he is an author. Yani Karanja, I am busy kujivunia one book that I have co-authored, and he has like 5 books that he has authored. Can you imagine? And all of them are on the shelf, and he'll tell us how to get them. So Karanja, tell us this concept of the home guard. I'm about to say home guard.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you very much, Grace, for inviting me to your show. The only correction is that maybe you are not a very good student. The book I sent you to buy is not called The Art of Stupidity. Otherwise, if you read about the art of stupidity, then you become stupid. It's called The Psychology of Stupidity.
Yes, that one.
Book. And it's very connected to this.
Stupidity nilishika.
Yes, what you understood is stupidity. And it's very connected to the home guard, because home guard is also part of stupidity. And we will also be discussing stupidity today.
All right. Then tell us about this home guard. And I have made you cohort. I told you guys you're going to enjoy this session today. You definitely will. And you need to invite us in your organizations to come and train about this, because this is part of a masterclass, to come and train about this home guard thing. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Grace. If you allow me, I think I can share some slides. I'll use, for purposes of this webinar, I'll use slides just to guide the discussions. Yes, I see. Let me share. In the meantime, what you have said, yes, I work with the Institute of Certified Secretaries, and I'm also inviting people to be certified secretaries. We'll be mentioning briefly how do you become a member. Maybe you can go to the next issue just as I tried to share here, showing me everything else except what I want to share.
Okay. All right. No problem. No
Now
problem.
I'm there now.
Okay.
I'm there now. You
Okay.
can see my screen?
Excellent. Yes, we can.
All right.
Perfect.
So do I proceed?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Good. Thank you very much, listeners, those from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, elsewhere. Today we are going to be discussing an interesting topic for the next few minutes, diagnosing the home guard syndrome, uncovering institutional resistance from within, from resistance to reform. That is the title of a book, which I'll be mentioning briefly about because that is what we'll be discussing. That is my profile. The presentation will be shared later and you can read about that, whatever is written there. Grace has mentioned that I have authored 5 books. They are all listed there, the 5 of them, and all of them are interesting. At the end of it, I will be mentioning something how you can access them. But for today, we will only be focusing on one, which is basically an overview of what it contains, the navigating home guard syndrome. But before that, Grace, with your permission, allow me to talk about where my bread is buttered. I work for the Institute of Certified Secretaries. The Institute of Certified Public Secretaries is a professional membership association. It is not a state corporation, but is a public institution at the National Treasury. And our role is to regulate issues of governance. So our members are called certified secretaries. I heard you, Grace, struggle. Is it satisfied or certified? Yes, we are usually satisfied, and also we are certified. And satisfied secretaries or certified secretaries are governance professionals, and we do all those services that I indicated there. We are company secretaries, we are corporation secretaries, trust secretaries, SACCO secretaries. We do governance audits, board evaluations, and other related governance services. So if you get a satisfied secretary, as Grace calls them, then they will help you, will make you satisfied on all those areas. And those are some of the areas that members of the Institute specialize in. They support you in your board services and all that. You get, maybe the final thing I'll talk about the Institute is that we do a lot of governance standards, and they are available to the general public. If you go to our website, www.ics.ke, on the resource, you can download all these governance standards and guidelines. They can help you in governing your institution, but also you can participate in a Champions of Governance Award, where we come assess your institution and give you a report on how you are performing on matters governance, and then you compete with the others. This year we'll be having the gala dinner in the month of November, so the assessments are available. For more details about the Institute, you listen to that YouTube. You not listen it today, but you listen at your own pleasure. You listen at your own leisure. In the interest of time, we will not listen today. So today, Grace, we want to talk about this first book, and I want to acknowledge my co-author. Most likely he could also be joining us, Professor Wing Mutuma, whom we have co-authored this book with, and that is what we'll be discussing. Part of what we'll be doing together with my co-author is have some master classes on this subject of home guard. And we'll be looking at all those. For those who are from Uganda and Kenya, when you hear me say rooking, just know I'm talking about air or not al. So those are some of the challenges we have over here, but we are trying to overcome. So the master classes will be targeting all those kind of people. including the people who are on this platform. So among the things that we will be looking at, not necessarily all of them today. For today, we'll just look at one or two things because it's just an introductory part, but is try to understand this concept of home guard, where it came from and all that, but then try and look at it. How does it apply in organizations today? And then how do you cure it? So that is all what we'll be looking at. So for today, I've been asked to talk about not every enemy is from outside. Some are dressed as loyalty. Maybe on the chat box, I would request you to maybe write something, any experience you have had in this where you thought the enemy is from outside, only for you to realize actually kikulacho kiguoni mwako. I think there was something like that. Grace, am I correct? Is that what the saying says? Yes. Kikulacho kiguoni mwako. Those that you think are very close to you, those that you think are loyal, that loyalty sometimes is not as you think. It is actually sabotage. And that is part of what we'll be looking at in the course of today. So the first module is actually what that topic will help us cover the first module of this masterclass, which is basically understanding the home guard. That's what we'll be doing. So maybe again in the chat box, may I ask if you know what home guard is? Who are home guards in the colonial era? And maybe Grace, you can check for me and you can read for me one or two comments. What are people saying? Who are home guards? And why were colonial masters using home guards? How were they helpful to them? But also, how were they disruptive to the rest of the society? Is there any comment, Grace, that have come?
Not so far. I think people are trying to get seated. Yes, we have Maureen Munguti saying gatekeepers. And I'm sure Richard has a comment on that. Richard, as I read here, who are the home guards?
Home guards, from the historical perspective, these are the people who were helping the colonialists to advance their cause. They were sabotaging the advancement of independence so that it doesn't succeed. When you want to be free, there are those people who are being given some piece of land, some money, some sugar, some sweets, so that the advancement of independence does not see the light of day.
All right.
They even given sweets.
Yes. Wafula says collaborators, there are two. John Waithaka says, my grandmother tells me there were Black Africans working for the white. And Florence says, people who will eat and dine with you, but then betray you. And Priska says, people blocking the main agenda. Go ahead, FCS.
Thank you. Very interesting. Yes, so people here have an idea home guards are, and that is exactly the point, that these are people who would come and even take oaths together with the rest of the freedom fighters, but in the night or later on, they will go again, display all the secrets to the colonial masters, and therefore they were actually rocking the boat from within. They normally say it is, if you go to the ocean, for instance, the ocean has a lot of water, and that water is not a threat to the boat. But if you have water inside the boat, then that's where the problem is. So when you have these home guards within the institution, that is a big threat to the institution. It is not an issue. The competitors outside there and the rest who may be making noise, those are not a major risk to the organization. But when you have this water inside the boat, as opposed to be outside there in the ocean, then your boat will definitely capsize. So when we talk about home guards, therefore, we are talking about even within the modern institution, where you have insiders who sometimes pretend they are loyalists to the institution, but actually they are there to sabotage whatever changes as the leader, as an institution you want to implement. these are the people who have to keep on reminding you that this is how we have always done it around here. These are the people who, when you come for staff meetings, they seem to be very keen and contributing and all that. If there maybe is a management meeting, but they're actually busy sending messages and text to the rest of the staff members, telling them actually the person who is proposing that you be put on disciplinary mechanism is Grace. But in the management meeting, they seem to be working very well with the rest of the team. But behind your back, they are sabotaging the team. We have them in these institutions. So during your free time, you can listen to this YouTube on the monkey. I don't know whether it will play. If it will play, we can listen to it.
Scientists placed 4 monkeys in a room with a stepladder upon which there was a bunch of bananas. Whenever a monkey went to climb the ladder, the other monkeys in the room were sprayed with cold water. After a while, each time a monkey went for the bananas, the others would attack it to prevent it from doing so. The monkeys learned to never climb the ladder. But then, one of the monkeys was removed, and a new monkey wearing a raincoat was introduced. Naturally, this monkey went for the bananas, and it was customarily attacked and prevented from doing so by the others. This new monkey learned not to climb the ladder. So when another monkey was substituted in and made for the bananas, all the others attacked it, including the one in the raincoat, despite the fact that it had never been sprayed with cold water. A third monkey was substituted in, and then a fourth final monkey. And still, whenever a monkey tried to climb the ladder, the others would prevent it from doing so, even though none of them had ever been sprayed with the cold water. When asked why this was, one monkey said, "That's just the way it is."
Yes, that is part of the home guard syndrome also, where you have people who believe things have to remain the way they have always been, not because even they know the reason. It's only because we found it being done this way. And therefore, anybody else who try to bring in a change, we are very quick to ensure that those people are properly attacked. And if you have a new CEO of a new leader of department or even a new board, you are very quick to say hata kulikuwa na wengine mbele ya huyu, atakuja na moto alafu atapoa. So this is part of the home guard syndrome. People who want to retain the status quo. They could be either in the management, people who want just to protect their positions and the status quo. They could be people who just want to keep the habits and the processes as they have always been, or they are those who want just to have an image. It's not the issue of the performance, but they really want is a personality worship, personality cult. They just want to be seen. We actually, some of these institutions don't know even the institution. We know the person. You mention a person, then you know the institution, not the other way around, because it's a personality cult kind of. And therefore, if you try to bring in a change, they will be very quick to attack you. And you find also these are the people who just want to stick to some structures and policies, and which some of these, and there's nothing wrong. Actually, in our profession, we value a lot the issues of structures and policies. But some of them are actually designed to ensure no change happen. We want just to do things as they were since the foundation of the earth. You want them just to remain that way. We also talking about we also talking about people who are always defending anything. They pretend to be loyal with what we call the loyalty mask. If you are the CEO, they are the kind of people who always be coming telling you, yes, sir, pretending to be very humble, saluting you. So in your estimation, you think this is the best person I have. However, they are actually the people behind your back who are very busy strategizing your downfall, or even whatever you are proposing to bring to ensure it does not succeed, either by influencing others or even by their action, because if they are departmental leader, they just ensure whatever that you are proposing not be done. and they are there, whether it's the projects that you have, they will just ensure it is sabotaged and not implemented. Now, Grace talked about a book that last time I recommended called Psychology of Stupidity. Today, I want to recommend to you a new one, Grace, still on stupidity, but it's called Functional Stupidity. It's written by those two authors indicated down there. They say that in an organization or in any group, there is what we call functional stupidity. And you can see a bit of those functional stupidities. It could be culture-induced, things which you do because they have always been done that way. It could be structurally induced. That's how the structure is, and all that. And actually, they ask a good question. Why do smart people do stupid things? Is because of this functional stupidity. And they indicate that there are generally 5 types of functional stupidity. And this is actually now what we are talking about, the home guard syndrome. People who are very obedient without thinking. They are part of the home guard syndrome because they don't want even to understand what the process, what the new project is. They are just telling you, yes, sir. But they don't think, they don't digest exactly so they just do what you tell them. As a leader, when you have such kind of people, who they never question anything, it's just they are like a sheep, makodo. When one goes this way, they follow. They don't think, they don't put that as part of the functional stupidity, but it's also part of the home guard syndrome. People who don't like to what we call, I want to talk about number 4, the issue of groupthink. These are people who are just following the rest, so that if it's in a meeting, they are always concurring with the others. So and so said, I also concur. They're always concurring. Then you ask in that meeting, why should we require you? Because you are just a photocopy of board member A. Because whatever board member A says, you also concur. So you are just a photocopy. Why do we require the 2 of you? This is part of the home guard syndrome. Because the same people, now that in the meeting, they seem not to question what they do outside there. They are the people who go say, I was not even supporting that, except for Grace, who was saying that for me, I was not for that idea. But in the meeting, either they are silent throughout, either they are just concurring, they will never come up with a contribution of their own, but outside the meeting, they are the one who are going just to sabotage the processes and the proposals that you have. These people could be in this room. It could be you. It could be me. Sometimes it could be the professionals like the HR, the company secretaries, or the rest, people who are just gatekeepers. And the question to ask is, are you one of them? If it was a physical class, I would have told you to ask your neighbor whether you are one of them, whether you think you are a home guard, just protecting broken systems and just being a gatekeeper, but you don't want to question why are things done the way they are. I like that boy. At least for him, who is questioning, why must we milk? This milk is for drinking. Why should you use your hands, put in a kettle, take to the jiko, then give me? So why can't I get it from the source direct? So sometimes you need to question the system. Why are things done always the way they are done? Now, when you have that syndrome, then what you get is the decision-making inertia. You get boards which are just protecting the status quo. Staff members who just want to retain things as they have always been. You have, and the last one is very important, especially for this part of Africa, faith-based governance and silence, because we want to attach everything to religion. And instead of doing the right thing, you want, even in the national politics, you want to call a lot of prayers from all kinds of religious groups to pray for the nation. instead of dealing with the real problem, which whether is corruption or misgovernance, we want to mask it in the name of religion. And if you question, you are reminded, those of us who are Christians, there are good verses in the Bible which will tell you you should obey your leaders. So you are reminded of those scriptures. You obey your leaders. Leaders come from heaven. And therefore, you are not supposed to question anything. Just follow, because that is what the religion say. Now, when you find the religion which you prescribe to is not helping you to liberate your minds, then that whoever you are worshiping is not God. You are actually a slave of someone else who want to use the religion to hold you into slavery. So religion is not a matter of just blindly following whatever that is being told. In this country, for the benefit of the Ugandans and Tanzanians, in this country there was one religion somewhere in coast where people were told to fast for quite a number of days, and they died in hundreds. But they continued to fast because they were told, if you do so, in any event, even if you die, you go to heaven. So that's what we are talking about. People who don't want to use their might, they want to hide it in some religious.
Are you among the 40 Ugandans who had also shown an interest in to be the CEO of Uganda Airlines?
Did you apply, in other words?
No, I didn't. Because the day I was going to apply, I was appointed.
Oh, wow. So you were given instructions to appoint her.
No, this is,
Okay, who gave you instructions to
the
appoint?
instructions came in from the Minister of Works and Transport, General Katuba, from a directive from His Excellency the President.
And as a committee of this country, we want to assure you that the image that you portray to the Ugandans out there, it shows that there was a lot of corruption. You keep saying that we got an instruction, we got a directives. Yes, but the directive, is it really procedurally right? And as board members, you shouldn't be as conduit pipe. Now, what is your role as board members?
What should you have done in my shoes, Mr. Chairman?
I am not the board chairperson.
So that is also part of home guard syndrome, and is also part of functional stupidity, even in the boardroom, where people are just following instructions without using their minds, without wanting to apply their medulla oblongata. I think that's what we are taught in biology and all that. So we are talking about a situation not only in the boardroom, not only in the organization, but even in the national politics, in the national leadership. People who are just following processes like sheep without wanting, and then you ask, what should I have done? Wherever you hear yourself asking such kind of stupid questions, first, we have seen some animals, they are called monkeys. Know that you are classifying yourself in that category. If you had not joined us, we watched some monkeys there who do like that. Now I'm also telling you from the writers that we have indicated there, that is also called functional stupidity, and is part of the home guard syndrome. So why do we engage in home guard syndrome? First is because of the fear of loss. You don't want to lose control, or you want to just be in the familiar grounds. You just want to be compliant with the culture. You don't want to question things. And sometimes some of us fear questioning. And it's very important as a leader, because the people who are here are leaders, you form a culture of questioning. Even what seem to be obvious, ask questions. You will actually unearth a lot of things when you ask the right question. But also is a sign of weak leadership. There is a good story that is given about this guy, king of a certain place, who, because for him, again, just like we have seen that in the Ugandan airline thing, where instructions were coming directly from the king, and you could not question. So this king, because he was very oppressive, people decided they want to sabotage him. So they got some witch doctors and told them, we want you to help us how to deal with this king. And they told him, let us show you what we are going to deal with him. So they came to the king and told the king, we want to make for you very beautiful and expensive clothes. But these clothes, there are some people in your kingdom who cannot see them because they are bad people. So just remove whatever you have, and you are going to clothe you. So the king removed everything. And then these witch doctors pretended to be putting the king some clothes. The king was asking him, but I can't see any clothes but that I'm wearing. But they are telling the king, no, you are smartly dressed. Anybody who cannot see the dress the king is wearing, the clothes the king is wearing, must be having a problem with you, and that person must be killed. Because of fear, all the assistants, everyone in the kingdom was saying, yes, the king, you are very well dressed. But in reality, the king was naked. And that's where you get the question, who will tell the king is naked? Because part of the home guard is where you as a leader, you have also elevated yourself to a level that no one can actually tell you you are naked. So even when you are seeing your nakedness, but because we want to retain our necks, we just tell you you are very well dressed, but we know actually you are going to the ditch. People cannot tell you when you are going to the ditch, because if we dare tell you, we are fearing we may lose our jobs. You are the HR, you are the all-powerful lady or gentleman in the organization, issuing show cause letters right, center, and left. So people fear you, and therefore no one dares question, no one dares give you feedback, and that is part of what promotes this home guard syndrome. So maybe again on the chat, I want to ask you, in your organization, what are some of the examples of the home guard behavior that you have seen in your institution? And why do you think these behaviors are tolerated or rewarded? Because in some, actually, they are not only tolerated, they are actually rewarded. And also the third one, how does fear manifest in your workplace when reform is proposed? Maybe we can hear one or two. If there is anyone who has typed anything, what are some of the examples of home guard behavior in your institution? Is there any that has come through, Grace?
Not yet. I think they are typing. But one of the ones that I know is people who go and to the boss and say it will work, and then come down and say they will not work. And Dalmas Masila says, who will tell in most cases, who will tell the king is naked? In most cases, none. This is very common. That is what Dalmas Masila says. Yes, I think Maureen says a director sexually harassing the receptionist and the HR blames her. Oh, that is sad. That is very sad. Oh, the ones who are told that you need to dress differently. And Wafula says kimbelembele. Jane says hoarding or failure to share information to some members of staff. Yes.
Interesting comments coming from them. And that one for director sexually harassing staff, that is, yes, that happens in institutions. And because you want to protect this director, so you actually find a reason to show maybe is this staff member who was not behaving well. And those of you who come from villages, you know this is also very common in the village. Where especially for ladies, they are dressed, they are blamed. Maybe they are the ones who are not dressing well. That's why they were harassed, because the society does not want to deal with this village elder and all that. Yes, those are some of the issues. You will reflect on those later, and you will also reflect on those at personal level. But let me come towards the conclusion and say some of the solutions are within you. Is the issue of having the courage as a leader. Because when you don't have courage is actually when you promote this home guard syndrome. And this courage includes when you know you have these home guards in your institutions, deal with them. Don't just cover under the carpet. Deal with the issue, because eventually if you don't deal with it, It will come, we give the example of a boat. This is water with inside the boat will eventually capsize. It's also an issue of culture change, and it's important that you engage in a culture change process to support the staff members or members of the institution who may be having these behaviors. And also, you as a leader, you need to set the top from the top and therefore lead in the narrative shift. And also form a culture of building dissent. When you start, if you are the CEO and you start the staff meeting or you are departmental leader, and you start your departmental meetings with giving a lot of lectures, even when you ask questions from staff, everyone will just be saying, as the manager has said. So that will be the beginning statement for everyone else. And because you have formed a culture where people don't want to disagree with you, and therefore you cannot get alternative views from the organization. I want to challenge you to take risks, only that the risks should be calculated, but part of breaking the home guard syndrome is also taking risks, because without risks, then you are not in business. If you are a business person, you are not able even to drive the organization. But also, as you take those risks, let the risks be well calculated. I don't know whether that is a well calculated risk. Let us see how he is going to navigate. Good. He has navigated very well. The final thing, what I leave you with is part of what you can help in, especially for an institution. Among the many things, you could consider something like governance audits. It will bring out some of these home guard syndrome issues that you may have, the issues of the board survey. Staff members will give feedback, especially when it's an anonymous. They will give you feedback as it is, and provided they are sure that they are not going, that feedback will not be used against them, and you can use this for purposes of self-improvement. And the final thing is to tell you that loyalty preserves, legacy transforms. Great leaders choose legacy because true loyalty serves the future, not just the familiar. Thank you, Grace. Over to you.
Amazing. First of all, I'm still figuring out how that guy was able to navigate that risk. Find me dead taking such. However, I am a risk taker either way, but not those ones. Like you said, we take calculated risks. But there's somebody who said, fine, I would like to change. However, I'm scared of losing my job. How does that work?
Yes, there is always risks. And even if you don't change, you can still lose your job. People don't lose jobs because they have questioned. You can still be that sheep in that organization who is just following commands and directives blindly, like that board of Uganda Airline. They were, of course, fearing to question, because if instructions have come from above, they think they should just say, yes, sir. But eventually, most likely, they still lost their jobs. So either way, however you look at it, you will still lose that job. So do the right thing and start for the right thing.
That's true. And Jafet Alande, hi CS Alande, he says there are those who support every idea that comes from the CEO, even if it's going to bring the organization down. How do we deal?
Those are the kodos we talked about. the sheep who just unquestioning legacy, loyalty. Yes, sir. In fact, you are not doing a favor to your boss if you don't guide them, if you don't advise them. And a true leader, a good leader, will always be asking for feedback from their people. As the CEO, Grace introduced me as a CEO of the Institute of Certified Secretaries. I don't have the monopoly of knowledge. I have very competent people. In fact, most of my staff members are more competent than myself. I actually don't know why they decided I be the CEO, because we have more competent people than me, more experienced than myself. And therefore, when you have this humility and during your meetings, you are genuinely asking for feedback, people will give you genuine feedback. But if you know it all, then people will just watch you as you fall on the ditch because everyone is fearing to. So if you are an employee and that is your boss, of course, if something is illegal or is unethical, you will not do it just because you have been told. But there is also something we call emotional intelligence. Maybe we'll discuss about it next time. Know how to say no. You can say no without saying no. So just know how to say no in a polite, emotionally intelligent manner.
And there's this person, I think he was giving an example, which I thought I should read it out. An example of how we have seen home guards syndrome in our organizations. At increasing salaries for friends and leaving out others who are not your friends. I think we need deliverance in these institutions.
That is interesting because, first of all, it also shows, and I have worked in an institution previously which had no salary structure. In fact, in that institution, the day we reported two friends. We schooled together with a friend of mine, and we reported the same day. I asked for a certain figure, my friend asked for a different figure, half of what I had asked, and we are doing the same role. And I tell you that we are paid different salaries. The day my friend realized that I'm paid double his salary, he resigned the same day. Although I was asking him, so you got whatever you asked. So it's also a challenge where you have institutions who have no structures and the policies are in the head of the boss. So it's what the boss thinks today, depending whether you are the girlfriend or the boyfriend. You get based on your relationship with the boss. It's a very dangerous kind of environment. And as HR practitioners who are here, I think those are some of the practices that we should never be associated with.
That's true. And there's somebody who's saying, where do you draw the line between office politics and gatekeeping?
Office politics. Politics is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, my first degree was in political science, and I enjoy it a lot. Politics is not always a bad thing. And also people fear something called office gossip. Gossip is also not a very bad thing. You don't gossip. Myself, I don't gossip, and I wouldn't want to gossip, but it's not very possible for you to control others from gossiping. So take gossip very positively, especially when they are gossiping about you. So some of these things, they may not be that bad. The issue is how you utilize them, how you manage them. Because one, if it's gossip, for instance, most of the time it comes as a result of inadequate information. As a leader, you have not provided adequate information on how you arrived at that salary, why so-and-so is being paid this amount, and therefore we start forming some issues around that. Maybe the girlfriend of the boss, maybe they are related. When processes are opaque, the processes are not transparent, then that is a fertile ground for politics and gossip. What is important as a leader, provide the information. There is nothing like salaries are confidential. Wherever I go to an institution and I hear that statement that salaries are confidential, know that there is something being cooked there. In fact, we need to know how much is our CEO paid. so that we all aspire to be CEOs and we be paid like that's the CEO. But if you are saying that the salaries are confidential, it means there are people you are paying different rates based, and others different rates. So some of those politics, some of those gossip come because of that opaqueness. But then where do you draw line between that and you asked there, been there?
Huh?
Grace, the question was how you drew the line between
Draw the
office
line.
politics.
Yes, office politics and this syndrome.
Oh, and the syndrome. So
Yeah.
the syndrome is you see, you want to use now that information, and I said there is nothing wrong in politics because actually politics by definition is the art of you are negotiating about resources. So part of the reason why people bring those politics is because I also want a good salary like the rest of the people, or the favors, the travels that the rest are going. But then when you move away just from using that negotiation for the benefit of the organization and you take it out there to sabotage the institution and you want to bring the institution down, then you are part of the home guards. You are part of the people who are, instead of promoting and supporting the institution, you are using that information to bring down the institution. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Barbara Arakiza, you wanted to comment? Barbara Arakiza? Irakiza, sorry. Irakiza. I hope I'm
Sorry, Grace. Thank you,
Yes.
Grace, and thank you, Jeremiah. It has been very insightful. I was just requesting that you share his contacts with us in the chat box. Thank you.
Okay.
Greetings
We'll
from
do that.
Uganda, yes.
Yes, how are you? How are you? I'm coming to Uganda soon. It's been a minute.
Please make sure we meet. Thank you.
I definitely do that. There's somebody who's saying what about a leader who runs away from giving feedback to his or her direct reports, keeping it safe for them not to give any positive criticism?
Richard, what is your thought about that leader?
A leader who does not like or does not rejoice or does not like giving feedback, this is a leader who most likely to me lacks assertive communication skills to be able to pass information that is not palatable to the person who is supposed to receive it. To me, the leader should be trained in assertive communication. That is one. Two, the organization should have a situation whereby people are trained on the role of feedback so that it is a culture. That is why we normally say that feedback is food for champions. And that is why the human resource practitioner in an organization should be at the tip of the spear in encouraging organizations to welcome feedback, even if it's not palatable. That is to me. So the leader should be trained in assertive communication so that they pass information to the person who is supposed to receive the information. Two, the HR, who is one of the key pillars in creating the culture of an organization, should promote the role of feedback in the organization. Therefore, then the leader who is running away from giving feedback can be able to have the skills and competencies. Earlier you mentioned emotional intelligence and other skills that are necessary to be able to pass information that is not necessarily sweet to the person who is receiving. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I like your last statement, giving information which is not sweet. You want to give quinine. I don't know, it was called quinine, some bitter tablets to
Yes,
cure
yes,
malaria. But
yes.
find a way of putting them in a very palatable way. That is what is called emotional intelligence. So you don't just on the face of it tell your boss, I will not do this. So just find a way of saying no without saying no, in a polite way, in an emotionally intelligent way. You don't tell the board, even for me as a CEO, the council of the institute may be discussing something that I'm not agreeable to, but you can't tell your employer in a council meeting, I'm telling, I will not do that. I disagree with that. You just find a polite way of passing the same. Thank you.
That is for sure. That is for sure. And just as we finalize, I see people saying we want FCS Karanja back. And yes, he will come back, but you will pay for the session. Yes, I told you this is a masterclass coming up, so you need to know that it's coming up. There are supervisors. This is from Patience Achola. There are supervisors who cannot make independent decisions without consulting their bosses. Yet, so where has it gone? Yes, sometimes these people need immediate feedback, and why am I not able to see that? Okay, yeah, these people need immediate feedback, and you find that all this is being done in the names of winning favor. So how do we go about this?
Part of the problem could be the boss themselves, because maybe the bosses have not either capacity built or even enabled such supervisors, and it's very common in institutions where no decision can happen. If I'm away, like now I'm away from the office, no decision can happen before I be consulted. Everything rotates around me. I find it very interesting, Grace, even when people are doing maybe as a condolence message. The CEO of a public institution, and I want to do a condolence message, but I put my photo there, and then I'm doing condolence message to so and so, and I'm doing on behalf of the institution. Or it's Jamhuri Day. I just want to pass a Jamhuri Day message. What does my photo have to do with the Jamhuri Day message? Because I'm promoting a personality instead of the institution. Now, when you have such kind of a leader, that the staff members, the supervisors, everybody, before they make any decision, they have to consult them. That's where the problem comes. And maybe the encouragement to the leaders who may be here, allow people to fail, allow them to make mistakes, because they may not be as good as you are, but you also never started where you are. You actually went there through a number of mistakes that you made. So it's okay for people to make a wrong decision. It's okay for them to fail. So just empower them. And one of the things I always do is, if you come to me with a problem, I ask you to come also with a solution. You are coming to consult me, what do you do on this CEO? I ask you, what is your proposal? And if maybe I'm not satisfied, I tell you, go think about 2 or 3 other possible solutions. Let the person be the one coming up with the solution. And actually you realize that the staff members or the people you supervise are actually very knowledgeable, more than you. So in a polite way, again, without displaying your stupidity, sorry to use that word, just find a way of them educating you. Because everybody, and that is what the writer of the book that Grace referred to earlier says, everybody have their form of stupidity. You have some level of stupidity. So let other people help you eradicate some of those stupidity by encouraging them to go and do research and come up with recommendations, instead of you always being the one generating the so-called solutions.
Absolutely. Now, lastly, how do I convert a difficult home guard to a change maker? And is terminating a home guard a solution to this syndrome?
No, that is very important, because some of these home guards, they can actually be allies, and they can be the biggest supporters of your leadership and the changes you are proposing to. But it is very important you provide them adequate information. There is another gentleman, during your free time, you can listen to him on YouTube, called Sipora. He normally says there are actually 5 kind of people. The intelligent and all that. The last group, he called them the stupid. And the stupid people, those ones are very difficult to deal with. But the rest of the groups, during your free time, just go to YouTube and listen to Sipora, 4 kinds of people, and from the Greek knowledge and all that. The last group of people, the stupid people, is very difficult for you to change, to do anything about them. But the rest, although they have some stupidity, that's what he says, but it is very easy to deal with them because you just need to empower them. When you empower them, every human being wants some form of acknowledgement. They want to feel they have achieved something. So some of those projects, whatever you are doing as a change, put them as part of they are the champions of whatever project you are having. You'll actually find, although you thought they are there to sabotage you, if you give them some responsibilities and appreciate them, you are not the only one taking the credit for everything. As if the institution relies on you only, you are the only member of the team in that organization. Let people spearhead projects and let them receive credits for the same, appreciate them. Sometimes it may not even be monetary, just recognition that this project would not have been possible without the support of grace. That appreciation will help a lot. But lastly, is also part of, sometimes it can be difficult because some of them, you see these home guards in the colonial era, what they will do, they will come take oaths with the freedom fighters, and they are pretending they are fighting alongside the freedom fighters, but then at night they are together with the colonial masters, telling the colonial masters even where to fight the freedom fighters. So you may have some of those people who are generally driven by greed. Those are very difficult to deal with. But if you realize there are some aspects that you are able to recall, we call it in governance, reconciling interests. Every person has their own interest. Every employee in that organization is not in that organization because of the organizational interest. It's because of their personal selfish interest of self-preservation. They want to earn a salary. Every board member in the organization is not there because of the institutional interest. That is what we normally put in the CV. In the CV, we normally say we want to make this institution great, but that is partly true, or sometimes most of the time false. The truth of the matter is the reason why you are in that organization, even you, Grace, the reason why you are in Atara, although you are the founder, is not because you want to make Atara a great institution. It's because of your selfish interest that you want to make money. You want to have a name. You want to leave a legacy. Now, once you realize that everybody has their own selfish interest, look at those selfish interests and see how you can reconcile them with the institutional interest. What is the interest of Atara Solutions? See where they can merge. So if you are in a public institution in Kenya, for example, there is a concept we call nowadays the per diem curse. Every decision that people make is based on how much per diem they are going to earn. So if you call a meeting in Nairobi, you will be talking to yourself. Right now, as I'm talking, I'm in a town called Naivasha, where I'm training over 800 board members and heads of internal audit. And we are here in Naivasha. I want to believe they have come here because they want to learn. That is what I want to believe. But my question is, if I held this event in Nairobi, would I be having 800 participants? Most likely, the most I will have brought together is 30 or 40. Because there is a per diem involved if you come to Naivasha. So now what I do is I reconcile their interest. I want them to learn, but at the same time, because they have their own selfish interest of earning a per diem, I take the event to Naivasha. So I have achieved the institutional interest as well. I have also achieved their personal selfish interest. So as a leader, look at what are the selfish personal interests of your participants, of your followers, and try to reconcile the same with those of the organization.
Grace, let me throw in something to what Karancha has said. I remember there is a time we had a webinar or a masterclass called root cause analysis. When you have a chief resistor within your organization, when you're carrying out change management, it is good to dig deeper why this person is resisting change. If it is Richard, try and analyze them using all the models available to understand why is this person resisting change. For example, if somebody is resisting change, if there is no per diem, for example, you've provided some incentive, if that is what will work. Of course, we have other ways of overcoming resistance to change when we look at the root cause. The root cause, why is this person refusing to change? If you understand the reasons why this person is resisting change, then it is easier for you to bring other models of change management so that you can be able to tackle them. That is probably what I could have to say, that root cause analysis, root cause analysis, root cause analysis. Thank
All
you,
right.
Grace. Over to you, Grace.
Yes. And no, I know I said that was the other one was the last question, but there is one here that I think we really need to answer. And I'm tempted to probably say we need to quit the savior mentality. Anyway, my dear Grace, they are leaders who they themselves block the feedback culture created by HR, championing with the organization. It's more of micromanaging everything, and systems end up collapsing every effort. My question is, when does one draw the line for HR? Do I just leave for another job? Who takes care of the HR while they're taking care of all the organization and leaders bias traits? This is draining and killing our HR professionals silently, and more often, their mental health at the workplace. Karanja.
Yes, if I try to understand what the question is about, is it the welfare of the HR people who takes care of those? Is this around what the question is asking?
Yeah, there's that, but I think the root cause is how do you draw the line between a boss who doesn't allow the culture of feedback?
All right. I worked once with one such boss, and I was in the HR. Actually, maybe what I didn't mention is that I belong to a number of professions. My primary profession is certified secretaries. That's what I have practiced all my years. But for 2 years, I was in active practice as a HR in an organization, and I'm also a lawyer and so many other things. And I worked once in the HR department, and our employer was like that, would not allow any feedback, would not, even as a HR, you are just a rubber stamp. In fact, the culture was so bad that there used to be some people there, the relatives of the boss, who had no portfolio. They had no position whatsoever. But they are the ones who used to make a decision, and then the decision is brought to you to sign. They want to fire somebody, so you are not consulted, so you don't know even the reason, and then they bring you the letter to sign as the HR. So you are there, you are looking at, you don't know what is the background, why is this person being fired and all that. And that's where courage come in. Now, and sometimes it's difficult. It's not as easy as I'm putting it, because as somebody mentioned, you are talking about issues of bread and butter. You are talking about being able to say, to tell your boss, I think this is okay, we can fire this person, but just before we fire them, may I propose that we give them maybe the due process, because if we don't, then, and in that organization, by the way, because of that culture, by the time the boss stopped that culture, what happened is that they was used to firing people right, center, and all that. Actually, part of the employees went and advised these junior employees who were being fired, and they came together, went to court. The organization paid quite a bit of money, and I think that's where the boss learned, even through the advice that we had given earlier and ignored. So sometimes also, nature has a way of teaching people some lessons. So do your work as a professional device. But also, may I also add this, your health is of ultimate importance. And therefore, if you are in an organization which is draining you emotionally and you have no peace and everything, you better start thinking otherwise. That is the time now you start sharpening your CV and talking to people, because there are some cultures it's very difficult to change, especially when it's set at the top. We normally say the fish rots from the top. So when the tone at the top is not right, it's very difficult to change such kind of a culture. And therefore, my advice to you is you should be thinking of an exit for your own good.
I actually agree with you. And you know, sometimes from a HR point of view, I think sometimes we also end up caring too much, and sometimes we forget ourselves. And sometimes I think one thing I tell HRs is you're not Jesus Christ. You cannot save everyone. You're not Muhammad. You cannot save everyone. You're not whoever prophet came. You cannot save everyone. So one of the things you need to accept is you cannot save everybody. Once you realize that the boat is capsizing, please save your life. Even the aeroplane tells us you wear your mask first. And I think that's a loud and clear message. Now, Karanja, because at this rate, people are leaving us and you have not told them where to find books. They have been asking where they can find your books. And the other thing they've been asking is your contact details. So if you can share that on the chat as we also look at what are the comments that we are getting. I see council member, Kuresha said hi, Karanja, she was here with us. She has also written on the chat her summaries. And for those asking, his contacts he has shared there. And his email is info@ics.ke or ceo@ics.ke. Or he has shared his personal number. You can check there on the chat. You can get to order the books and also invite Karanja. He's an amazing speaker. If he has time, but yes, he creates time when called upon. I see Nora saying rubber stamp is the correct vocabulary that HR is called. And Maureen says, are we not the same HRs who ask for the last supervisor as your referees? Amina Mohammed says, a good HRP must set his or practice standards, communicate, all will fall suit or something like that. And Josephine says, informed presentation appreciated. Mary says, a boss who attacks you with performance issues when you challenge him or her. People have defense mechanisms. Ambrose Bakaki, root cause analysis is perfect in this aspect. Amazing comments we are getting. And somebody is saying, thank you so much, our gallant speaker. Hortensia says, also, please put on the chat the YouTube video Karanja asked us to watch. Oh yeah, there is that YouTube video from Karanja. Karanja, the one you've talked about 4 kinds of people.
Will you be sharing this presentation? Because I can put, if you have their contacts, I can put, then you circulate.
Normally, I would share on our YouTube, on our WhatsApp group. And for those who are asking for recording, it will be on our YouTube channel. Somebody is saying, please share the Ugandan board also. The video for the Uganda board. You can share whatever you need to on my WhatsApp, and I'll share on our WhatsApp group. If you're there, you can be able to see that.
Okay.
Yes, Ambrose, he will share the Uganda video, and he has also shared his number. You can also reach out to Karanja directly. Yes. There's somebody who's saying niache kukua kondo. Florence, you will not see heaven. She's my friend. Ati Grace, don't be a kodoshe. Bring me back Karanja. Pun intended. No problem. Yes, Paul, kindly share the WhatsApp group on the chat as well, so that people can join. And yes, Karanja, Richard, are you done? Or do we get Karanja to give his parting shot?
Karanja has really done what most people are saying: no sugar, no sugar, no sugar. Thank you so much. We have really loved your sugarless presentation. There is no sugar coating. We will have to pray so that you come again, so that you can give us more doses. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We really, Karanja, please give us your parting shot.
Thank you. I think, Chris, you already given the parting shot. You said that we are not saviors. We are not the saviors of the world. But may I even surprise you? You've told that we are not Jesus. But may I even surprise you? Even Jesus himself, he came here for 33 years and he never saved everybody. That is the bad news. Although he is the savior of the world, he still never saved everybody. So even you cannot change the whole world alone. However, you have a contribution, and that is what is important. You have a contribution that you can make, and that is what he did. He did his contribution. The rest of the people have to make their own choices. So you do what you can within your power, within your ability, to the best of your ability. But we are talking about human beings. They eventually have a decision to make. So how do you change the home guard syndrome? Do the right thing, do what you need to do, but I don't guarantee you that people will change, because it all depends with them, not you. You can only do what you can. Thank you.
Japheth, you will not see heaven. Karanja two-term. All right, you guys. We will have Karanja back. No problem. We shall pray that we are not practicing home guard syndrome. So please get a hold of Karanja's books and get to buy them, as well as invite him as a speaker in your organizations, so that we can also get to learn. It is not enough for you to learn only. You also need to teach your supervisors as well, so that we can grow our organizations together. So thank you so much, FCS Karanja. Always a pleasure listening to you. Always a pleasure interacting, and always a pleasure learning from you. And Dorothy Nangombi from Uganda says, does he do leadership and management trainings? Yes, he does. In fact, governance is his everyday job, and governance is the three-quarter leadership, besides the structure. So yes, he does that for sure, for sure, for sure. So thank you so much for your time and for sacrificing your stay in Naivasha to be with us instead of networking with other people, or rather with other board members. And I hope this session was also satisfying for you. Please be on the lookout for the advert for the masterclass on the home guard syndrome. That one will be fully free. Today was just an introduction, so be on the lookout for that. And of course, join us next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we are looking at medical retirement. I told you we demystify issues to do with employment and entrepreneurship, and we are here every Tuesday. So so join us next Tuesday from 8 o'clock as we unpack a retirement medical scheme for your parents, for yourself. There's a training we do that is called You Retired When You Started Working. So don't think that you're too far, but it is also important for your parents and those you're taking care of. And of course, to you, our audience, we cannot do this without you. Please, thank you so much, and do join us next weekend. To you, Richard, and the entire team of Atara Solutions, thank you so much for your support and for making this happen as well. And please follow us on Instagram, Atara Solutions, like our Facebook page, Atara Solutions. Follow us or connect with us on LinkedIn, Atara Solutions as well, or with me personally as well. On LinkedIn is CHRP Grace Nzula. For Karanja, it's FCS Karanja. For Richard, is Richard J. Magoma. Do join us as well, or rather do connect with us, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Get It Right with Atara Solutions, and get to catch up on anything you may have missed even a repeat of this session. So thank you so much, guys. The link you've shared is for the books, Karanja?
No, that is for those who are asking for the LinkedIn link. That is my LinkedIn.
Okay. So yes, please connect with FCS Karanja and let's keep this conversation going. Thank you so much, guys, and have yourselves a lovely, lovely night. I think today has been very, very interesting. Thank you, Karanja, for making our night. It felt like it was very short.
Thank you.
Asante sana. Good night.
Good night, everybody.